Welcome back to our
Hello,
stream today.
people. Stream will be short, but don't worry. Next week we'll continue basic streaming. Ooh,
Yeah,
for 19.95 a month.
no. Uh, I guess some housekeeping to take care of before we really get into the review. Uh, Stocks won't be with us today, so we're just going to be doing the reviews of the two episodes. Other things, TJ Pones, the artist behind Horsewife, has recently had some health issues. We want to wish him well. Hope everything goes well with whatever treatment he needs for what he's got. Um, but with that said, I guess we're no further ado. We're on to Celestial Advice, the first episode of season
Well, a
7.
first note I want to make is, it's let's see, it's interesting that these are like, yes, they play two episodes, but they kind of are different from each other. And it's like the first time we've seen a
Yeah.
two episodes where it's not like a villain that they had to beat.
Well, it wasn't even a two-parter. It was just two
I
episodes that they
know.
kind of just jammed together. I think that was
Yeah.
on purpose to kind of to still have the kind
Uh,
of length that they usually have, but to not have to come up with another big two-parter. Um, but I think it was, you know, and for people who like me were sticking their fingers in their ears and going, I don't want to hear about it until it comes out. It was like, okay, it's two episodes, so it's probably a two-parter. I didn't even look at the names or anything until like I was watching them. So
yep.
I didn't want to deal with that, so I chose not to. And so it was a bit of a surprise that it wasn't a two-parter, but uh, that's okay. We don't always have to have a two-parter, and a lot of times their single-parters can be more interesting than the double part. The double parts, the double parts tend to be more action-oriented, and the strength of the series is the characters, and But that out of the way, Celestial Advice, episode 1 of season 7. Twilight does something sensible. Okay? So she has a problem that she knows somebody else has dealt with in the past. What does she do? She immediately goes and asks for help.
Yay! I gets laughed at.
Well, she wasn't laughing at her, but laughing with her because she knows that feeling. She knows what she was going through. And I really love that they did something like this. We needed some more, I guess for lack of a better word, humanizing Celestia. She's always so out there. We get little glimpses of it here and there, like uh, make friends and keep Discord or something like that. Uh, we got her. We got a little bit of a snapshot of her inviting Discord just because she likes the chaos. She likes having just a little bit of something different going on, so it's just so boring. And and we get glimpses of that in what's the other one? Uh, the episode 100, when she and Luna are fighting, and that's really, it's really nice to see her be more of a fleshed out character, and to see how similar she actually is to Twilight, kind of behind that kind of royal mask of I am awesome. It's
Yeah.
she's very Twilight. It's like you, you can see her do the little kind of nervous hooves, kind of tapping the hooves, on the thing. You know, should I not? Should I not? Uh, we got a lot of lore and interesting things here. And there's some funny bits that I noticed over the episode as well. Like, okay, so when you're starting out with it, the whole thing is Twilight's trying to measure for a mirror. Meanwhile, Spike is on the outside, distracting Starlight. And one of the first things she does is like holds up a hoof to go shh. It's like no, you want him talking, you want him distracting her, and he already knows what you're trying to do because he's in on the plan. So you don't need to shush. And the other thing is, you seriously you couldn't wait till she went to the spa with Trixie or something, just like then I'll just go in and measure it and then leave. And no, she'll never know. But
Yep.
the fact that she had to measure so much for a mirror is strange in and of itself. But anyway, we find out that Pinkie has streamlined the party preparations to precision, given that she was able to both create the party and pick up the party in like a matter of seconds.
It was still hard work, though.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those. I keep parties set up all over Equestria in case of party emergency sort of situations. Because otherwise that doesn't make sense. It really wouldn't surprise me if she just has a party always kind of up in the up near the ceiling of that room just in case. So we also find out that apparently there is the Pink Heart of Courage, which is a reward that they honor bravery with. I'm curious if, like Gibbs on NCIS, the Main Six just have a drawer, and just every time they come back from a big episode, they just kind of chuck the award in there. So I got another one.
No, I don't think they have any of those. They just had their pictures put on stained glass windows, but they ran out of those.
Well, I mean that, and I would figure it would give them those as well. Just kind of, and here's a little trinket. But yes, putting them on stained glass is also a bit of a thing. Let's see. Luna forgets there's such thing as a teleportation spell to just kind of put the necklace over Thorax's, just kind of beam it over his head. Just kind of, boom, now it's on your neck. Boom, done.
And Discord just takes off his head to put on the necklace.
Yes, but not everybody can be Discord. Then again, the changeling, being a changeling, he probably could change his horns to be less obstructive to the situation. It's like, I'm me, but I'm me with smaller horns, and then I can just switch back when she gets the award over my head. Let's see. Mare found her a special sun pony. If you look back in the picture at the award ceremony. And there's a lovely little exchange from Celestia and Twilight. It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? Watching your students shine the way you always knew they could. And my cheeks are sore. I don't think I've ever smiled this much in my life. This is really the episode where you're seeing the teaching mantle has been passed down a generation, passed down a level. Twilight is now the teacher. She's got a, we already knew that, but you really start to feel it in this episode.
Yeah.
And of course, Discord has to has to rock the boat, and it's like, you weren't just going to do that, were you? Oh, no, of course not.
Discord's always asked. What's funny about Discord? It's like, before the season came back, I heard that Discord wasn't going to be in the season at all. Well, it turns out that was wrong.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of this kind of duality of Discord we've kind of run into, where he is both there to troll and to troll also in a positive way that kind of he prods her. He's one of the few characters that can prod Twilight in a way where he's having fun, but he's also doing something good for her. She needed to consider the next step of Starlight and really go through her, you know, what she knows and what she doesn't know, and really what she needs to do. And she just didn't bother with it yet, and so he prods her a little, and that's good for her.
Yeah.
And of course, it's completely believable that she does have a plan, even if she's bluffing, because, as Rainbow Dash said, when does Twilight not have a plan? And we get a few different possible places to send Starlight away to grow more.
Yeah, and Twilight's imagination got kind of dark with the dragon thing.
Yeah, and apparently has it has the cringiest compromise teaching skit in all of TV with Starlight and Thorax. And it's like, and thinking about it, this show can still teach a lesson while making fun of teaching a lesson.
Compromise!
Yes, technically they are still teaching a lesson in compromise. It's hackneyed and kind of, cheesy as heck, but it's still a lesson, And then we get the line that is going to launch a lot of fan art. There's no wrong way to fantasize.
Oh, no, I've already seen the fan art.
Well, it's already launched some, and it's going to launch more. I mean, that line, there's no wrong way to fantasize. Good grief.
Oh, another line that I just really loved in the episode, because this is perfect. When Twilight's like, Celestia knows more. So it's like, I was not aware that my name was something.
I wasn't aware I was a saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love that part.
We always hear, it's like, Sweet Celestia, or, Celestia knows where, or something like that. And it's like, it's right there. You may want to hold back on those reactions, those knee-jerk reactions. Do you think that the students at the school would do that, considering that she's around a lot, and you might accidentally have her show up? Whether they went, we probably ought to not do that, say those phrases.
It's just perfect, though.
Yeah, let's see. In Dragonlance, I think, therefore I am, that at one point they were listing off things that the dragons like to do, and one of them was Clawcello.
Yeah, Coachella.
Which I think, it was the Coachella Music Festival, it's a big music festival, which is interesting. I wonder what kind of instruments a dragon would play. I mean, I guess they wouldn't need a pick
and roll.
They wouldn't need a pick for a guitar. They could just use their fingernail. In fact, well, they may need a pick anyway, because their fingernail may be too hard for that. And, each one provides a worry, Lava in the Dragonlands, the rebellious changeling in the Changeling Kingdom, and then Crystal Empire was, it actually, those two together, Sunburst and Starlight together, with Starlight reformed is actually really freaking. That's a really powerful combination. Because he's got the knowledge, and she's got the muscle. She's got the magic muscle. So don't take that out of context. But so together they're very powerful. But yeah,
to take over Equestria.
Yeah, well, they're reformed. She's reformed, and he was never evil to begin with. So it's for the good of Equestria. Yes. And so at this point, we get Celestia's laughing at her, and we see her having the same fears as Twilight. How it's kind of humanizing for her, and kind of fills out her character. And you see why she and Twilight had such a good connection, because they're very similar in that regard. And while they're in the lab, one of the cool things is if you check for continuity, as per Silver Quill, in that scene you get cute Philly Twy and company from Mending Fences. All her friends, all those unicorn fillies that were at Celestia's school, her friends that they list off, that Spike lists off, Spike list. Tongue is not working. That Spike lists off as her friends from Canterlot: Minuet, Twinkleshine, Lemon Hearts, Lyra, and Moondancer. All of them are there. They could have picked a lot of fillies for that, but they picked those specific ones, and they were all in that scene. And I thought that was a good attention to detail. And so we see some of Celestia's. Okay, let's not blow into the microphone. Celestia was worried about Twilight being isolated. That would be stunting her growth. Her academics were outstanding, but her personal growth was a little lacking. And so she comes with a couple ideas. She's like, okay, well, I could shut down the library. When I shut down the library at a school, Celestia, really? And, Twilight would just have her own books that she'd already checked out, and she'd just read those. Or throw a party. Yes, Twilight is very much the party animal. But in the end, she came to the conclusion that she did need to send her away for her to grow. And
he's like, Twilight, get your ass out there and make friends.
Well, and she knew about the rest of the main six. She knew, and this is a bit of lore and a bit of, of information that we didn't have, was that at the point Twilight came, everybody knew each other. I mean, we knew some of them knew each other, because they talked during the first episode, like, they knew each other. But the fact that all 5 of them knew each other is a thing. And the fact that they were already friends, and Celestia knew it, and that's why she sent her to Ponyville specifically. Well, probably partially. That and the Nightmare Moon scenario. She also knew that would happen, but she went ahead and sent her there with that also in mind. She was going to, but she had a Twilight level freak out about what could go wrong if she did it. One of the things she like, her fears were run into a Manticore. Well, she did that and she was fine. Pulled into Tartarus. Don't think Twilight's ever been pulled into Tartarus. Celestia has, but not her. Or she wouldn't get along, which didn't end up coming to pass. But one of the things Celestia was really, out of all this, was concerned was her anxiety was that she wouldn't need her anymore. And we find out later that, one of the things to kind of... I'm getting an echo of my own voice.
Oh. How about now?
Let's see. No. Okay, But Celestia's anxiety was a lot of over her leaving and not needing her anymore. And one of the things she suggested was, you could just make her send you letters. Which kind of lends to understanding a little bit about why the letters were there in the first place. It was so Princess Celestia could feel like she was still involved.
It's like, speaking of which, Twilight, where are my letters?
No, she said it was fine. She didn't need to send her a letter every week.
Yeah, well,
And
it's been a while.
oh, they're long since past that. Man, she's a freaking princess, so I think she's graduated from that sort of thing. But there's this lovely little exchange that works out really well, and it really informs a lot of the relationship with Celestia and Twilight. Celestia says, I kept you in Canterlot longer than I should have. Eventually, I realized all the anxiety I felt was because I didn't want you to go. Twilight, really? Celestia, I loved having you as a student. You challenged me and taught me just as much as I taught you. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I was afraid if you made friends, you wouldn't need me anymore. Twilight answered back, Princess Celestia, that's so not true. I'll always need you. E.g. this episode. And Celestia comes back, I think Starlight Glimmer might feel the same way about you, if that is what you're afraid of. And Twilight says, maybe it is, just a little. And Spike says, oh, it definitely is, like a lot. And Celestia comes back and saying, here we are after all these years, Twilight. We are living proof that letting someone spread their wings doesn't mean you no longer have a place in their lives. Twilight, thank you. And Celestia says, and if you're still worried, you can always make her write you letters. Which at this point, Twilight decides to graduate Starlight, but Starlight doesn't want to go just yet. She has her freedom from the kind of Reformation project, but she's choosing to stay to become even better. But that's most of the episode. Really humanizing episode for Celestia, for lack of a better term. It's nice to see more of what went into the kind of early, it was history. And this is as close as we're going to get to a Celestia episode, for Celestia fans. Probably for a while, I would imagine. But it was a good episode for her, really. It expanded on her personality a lot, because for someone who has been in the series since episode 1, we really don't have a very fleshed out character for her. She's always been this kind of statuesque, just kind of there sort of character. And
I was just gonna say, this is kind of a random thought, but I wonder if the changelings can still change.
From Twilight's Fantasy, where one of the changelings impersonated Starlight.
Yeah.
They seem to be able to, or at least Twilight thinks they can.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Because, yeah, I did show it in her fantasy, but I mean, Thorax could have changed into a pony for a brief moment.
Well, I think we should probably rely on Twilight's fantasy, because she would know. She would be the most knowledgeable on that. From where we're sitting, we can't investigate that. So
Yeah.
I would assume that they still can, given that Twilight was like, it was so obviously put in that she was just like, yeah, they can still do it. So maybe one of them decided to try it out, could still change. It was like, okay, I can change, we're good. But I think that's just about everything I had to say on the episode. It was a good episode. I mean, it wasn't,
And Celestia knows when.
Yeah, Celestia knows when we'll get another Celestia episode. But overall, it was a decent episode. I really love that we
Yeah.
got some more Celestia stuff, but it was okay. It wasn't earth-shatteringly good, but it wasn't bad either. It was pretty. It was good. It was good.
Yep.
Any final thoughts on your end?
Um. Just it was interesting that we didn't have to fight a major villain this time. So yeah.
All right.